She was a symbol of strength, resilience, and defiance, a woman who painted her pain onto canvas and turned tragedy into timeless art. But behind the vivid colors and bold self-portraits, Frida Kahlo's final days were filled with unbearable suffering, heartbreak, and haunting silence. The truth about how one of history's most iconic artists spent her last moments is as heartbreaking as it is unforgettable. Frida Kahlo's life was a masterpiece painted in agony and beauty. To the world, she was the fearless artist from Mexico who redefined femininity, passion, and rebellion. But beneath her striking image, the flowers in her hair, the fiery eyes, the vivid colors, lay a body racked with pain and a spirit constantly tested by tragedy. As she approached the end of her life, Frida's world began to collapse around her, leaving behind haunting memories that would echo long after her final breath. Born in 1907, Frida's journey was marked by suffering from the very beginning. At just 6 years old, she contracted polio, leaving her with a weakened leg. But it was the horrific bus accident at age 18 that changed everything. Her spine was shattered, her pelvis crushed, and her dreams of becoming a doctor destroyed in an instant. Lying bedridden for months, she began to paint, not for fame, but to survive. Her art became a mirror of her pain. Each brushstroke a confession of the agony she could never escape. As her fame grew, so did her heartbreak. Her marriage to fellow artist Diego Rivera was as passionate as it was turbulent. They loved each other fiercely, but hurt each other deeply. Diego's constant infidelities, including an affair with Frida's own sister, tore her apart. Yet despite the betrayal, she remained devoted to him. Their love, like her art, was chaotic, emotional, and impossible to separate from her identity. By the early 1950s, Frida's health had deteriorated rapidly. Decades of surgeries, infections, and chronic pain had left her body fragile. She began losing weight, her mobility fading, her strength slipping away. Her right leg developed gangrene, forcing doctors to amputate it below the knee, a devastating blow for a woman who had already endured more pain than most could bear. Feet, she once wrote in her diary, "What do I need you for when I have wings to fly?" But her spirit was breaking, and the wings she spoke of were growing heavy. Friends who visited her during those final years recalled a haunting mix of courage and despair. Her home, La Casa Azul, the Blue House, was filled with laughter one moment and suffocating silence the next. She continued to paint, even from her bed, surrounded by the smell of paint and medicine. Her final works reflected both defiance and resignation. One of her last paintings, Viva la Vida, Long Live Life, showed bright red watermelons bursting with color. It was her way of saying goodbye, celebrating life even as death closed in. But behind the canvas, Frida was fading fast. She became increasingly dependent on painkillers and alcohol, numbing her body as her spirit slipped away. Her diary entries grew darker, a reflection of her torment. She wrote about loneliness, betrayal, and the unbearable weight of existing in a body that constantly betrayed her. Yet, even in her pain, she never lost her fire. Friends remembered her smiling through agony, joking about death as though it were just another visitor at her door. On July 13, 1954, Frida Kahlo passed away at the age of 47. The official cause was listed as a pulmonary embolism, but many believe she may have taken her own life. Just days before her death, she wrote in her diary, "I hope the exit is joyful, and I hope never to return," when her body was cremated. Witnesses said her lips curled into a faint smile as the flames rose, as if she had finally found peace after a lifetime of pain. Today, Frida Kahlo remains more than an artist. She's a legend, a symbol of defiance, femininity, and resilience. But her final days remind us that even the strongest souls carry invisible scars. Behind every vibrant portrait was a woman who refused to surrender, even as her body failed her. Frida didn't just paint her pain, she lived it, owned it, and turned it into art that will outlive us all. And perhaps that is her greatest masterpiece of all.